a national non-profit food redistribution organization, that Food Forward SA, has received over 11 million rand in financial and food donation support. Now, this is part of a national rollout to mitigate the negative impact of COVID-19 on the food needs of vulnerable groups. Food Forward has obtained a permit to operate as an essential service during the lockdown period and will be directing all its efforts to ensure that shelters, facilities for the disabled and non-profit organizations that are providing food parcels for at-risk individuals. Joining us now to speak about food distribution strategies is Andy du Plessis, who is Managing Director of Food Forward SA. Mr. du Plessis, thanks very much for your time. Welcome to Newsroom Africa. So we heard the Minister there mentioning that, the government alone simply can't do this on themselves, right? So, and that's where organizations like yours step in. We'll speak about the distribution strategies in just a moment. First, paint the picture for us. I mean, from what you've been able to observe, how bad is the food insecurity at the moment, and how has it been affected by the lockdown?
Hi, and thank you very much for having me. So I think it's important to understand the context. Before COVID-19, we already had a food security crisis across South Africa. I think people are just now more heightened of its awareness and the brevity of its spread across South Africa. So what we're finding now is that an existing hunger crisis that has been there for a while across South Africa now collides with the COVID-19 impact, where people from the informal sector that were earning an income on a daily basis or a weekly basis, those individuals are now not able to earn an income, and so they don't have savings. They are not able to buy food. So we have an access to food issue here. And so in our view, about 30 million people across South Africa are food insecure right now during the COVID-19 lockdown.
Right. And, are there any specific areas of concern then as you try to address that issue, particularly during this lockdown period?
I wish I could say that there are only just a few areas affected, but this is so widespread that it's across several communities. What we're finding now is that we are, as an organization, inundated with requests. Before COVID-19, we were supporting 670 beneficiary organizations that were helping about 250,000 people nationally. As it stands today, we're helping more than 900 non-profit organizations and reaching roughly 450,000 individuals and their households now, because our distribution strategies have changed. So this is widespread. It is broad. It's across several communities, and there's no way you can pinpoint it to say that particular communities are needy. It is quite broad.
And I guess, the best way to be effective is to ensure that things are coordinated, in as an effective way as possible. The Minister mentioning that, perhaps going through the route of roping in leaders from communities might help. In your experience, have you found that type of strategy to be useful?
Absolutely. So we are coordinating with a number of bodies. Food Forward South Africa sits on a number of joint operations centers provincially and nationally. So we are coordinating with the Department of Social Development. We are coordinating with other non-profit organizations that are doing amazing work in this space as well, to make sure that there is no duplication. But where the strength is of our model is because we work through registered non-profit organizations that have existing and verifiable services in existing communities. They understand the communities, they know the people in the communities, they know which families are needy, and we can make sure that when we provide them with food support, that the food will reach the intended households where needed.
And, our count puts the amount of relief you've received so far to about 11 million rand. You'll be able to confirm that figure for us, but whatever the amount is, how far are you able to actually stretch it, and, how far are you hoping it'll go?
Yeah. So we are sitting now on 19 million rand, and I'm very encouraged by mostly individuals that have been donating, while they are at home and they're not able to do anything, they are donating into our organization, and we are able to turn their goodwill and their finances into providing meals for vulnerable households. So we on 90 million rands of our 50 million rand appeal so far, and we are encouraging corporates to join us and support us so that we can reach our 50 million rand target. Just to put it in context, the funds we are raising is not going to be spent just in the next month or so. We anticipate that food needs and food insecurity will deepen in the next 8 to 12 months, and so we are gearing up our organization to make sure that we are able to provide regular and protracted support to non-profit organizations that are able to identify needy households and receive the food that they need. We've also received about 25 million rands worth of food donated from our supply chain partners, and most notably there has been Massmart. They've come to the party in a huge way. The executives have taken a pay cut and they've decided to turn their funds into food, and so we're getting nearly 300 tons of food every month through Massmart that we will be able to distribute to our 400,000, maybe more, 500,000 individuals across the country. So I'm very grateful to the support across South Africa, but more is needed because this crisis is going to be with us for a while to come, and Food Forward South Africa wants to make sure that while we are trying to deal with the health crisis, we must make sure that we don't exacerbate a hunger crisis.
Absolutely, especially because, the UN has sort of echoed those type of sentiments too. Thank you very much for the good work that you do, and hopefully many more South Africans will come forward to help you reach some of those goals. Andy du Plessis, Managing Director of Food Forward South Africa. Certainly appreciate your time indeed.